Hello, I am the Gentlemanly Gamer.
And I'm Zane Taicho.
Welcome to the Undisputed Nerds YouTube channel. You're about to watch a clip from our podcast, which we do every week, and you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all of your other favourite podcast platforms.
Don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Hope you enjoy the clip.
The movie feels.
Yeah, as I can't even remember how old I was when I watched this, but I remember not caring about any of that sort of machinations. I just wanted to follow Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan's journey because that's the only thing I cared about. Like, because they're the Jedi. Like, I'm here to see the Jedi movie, sort of thing. And like you said, there is a great payoff because you get the dual fates at the end. The pod racing sequence, yeah, that's incredible. Because I mean, visually, it's amazing, especially for the time.
Yeah.
But everything else is just like.
Can we flip the order of things a little bit and talk about visuals and then talk about kind of characters? Like, what was the other one you had? Visuals. You had something else.
Visuals, characters, and action.
Yeah, can we talk about action and visuals like next, and then we'll end on characters because I've got a lot of things that I wanted to go into with characters. As far as like the action and visuals in this are concerned, I think that it ranges from really, really good stuff to like really, really bad visuals and stuff. And I'm just it's a weird in between. So this is, I mean, famously, you know, Ewan McGregor's gone on record as saying that like he's enjoyed the Mandalorian experience a lot more because he actually saw and experienced the landscape and the stuff that was happening around him because the Mandalorian set projects it there, you know, and then they can film it like that. And this was famously pretty much all done on green screen. I mean, there's very few moments in this film where it's a set, like very few moments. It's almost all exclusively green screen. And I think it's both a good and bad thing. I think that Star Wars is one of the biggest complaints that a lot of people had about the prequels was that it was too polished and it was too clean.
Really?
And everything felt too, you know, like I think a lot of the charm of the original Star Wars was the idea of like, oh, it looks like a, you know, that space station could be like a bunch of egg crates that they've just like stapled together, and it's like on a, what, you know what I mean? Like it's like the ramshackleness of it was the appeal. But I always try and explain to people, well, there is the idea that like everything, like there was a huge war that happened. Like the idea was there was a massive war that engulfed the entire galaxy pre-episode 4. So it does make a lot of sense that there's gonna be a lot of ramshackle, like put together bits and pieces because this is post-war time, you know. And so the idea that this was a clean, crisp, like Republic era that has been in effect for like 1,000 years, that makes a lot of sense because, you know, everything would be running smoothly and everything should be running smoothly. And so everything's going to look really nice and shiny and fine.
Just to add to that point as well, I remember there being a point where they remastered the DVDs, and I think this is the version that's on Disney Plus as well, where the puppets have been replaced with CG. So, for example, famously, Yoda in the first version was a puppet, and then in the digital remaster, he's a CG.
In Phantom Menace?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So, you know, the council scene?
I did notice that, actually. Yeah, you're right. He is, yeah. But Yoda's barely in this, by the way. Yoda and Mace Windu are barely in this movie. Yeah, I didn't notice that. Now you say that. Yeah, I thought he did look weird. That's fascinating. I mean, it's a stupid decision as well, but fascinating. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I mean, I just for the visual effects and that side of things, I'm trying to think of there's certain pieces of it where I thought that is super janky. The underwater Gungan city looked particularly jank. I thought it wasn't good. It did not look good. Looking back on it, I mean, I'm sure at the time it was cutting edge CGI, but it didn't look good. It really did not.
No.
Coruscant as well. Some of the landscaping in Coruscant when they're there was a nice moment where Obi-Wan's talking to Qui-Gon on Coruscant, and there's a sunset. and they're looking out across when you see all the cars going past and everything like
Yes.
that in Coruscant.
Yeah.
It didn't look good. It looked very bad. It was like they were in like a stock footage of like the Jedi Knight game. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, that's not good. That's not good. Flip that. On the flip side of that, the starfighter battle, the Naboo starfighter battle at the end, which is all CGI, that is amazing. Like that looks really good. That looks really, really good. Also, the pod racing scene that we talked about before, that pod racing scene is amazing. Like there's nothing I can say about it. No matter how much I may feel about dorky Anakin, it's amazing. Like it's so well done. And it's such a brilliant, like it's such a great concept of like an idea in Star Wars as well, to have this like, it's a racetrack, but they have their own version of like race cars. It's like it just looks so, it's just so good. It's the noises in that as well. Whilst we're talking about visuals and sound, the noises of the different pod races in that like get me every time as well. Because like Sebulba's like pod, and then like just Anakin's like it's, I love it. I love it.
It's as you say, the engine noise and stuff as well, where it like kicks in, and when he's you can tell when he's having like a boost or something. I even again different variations. There's a version that was like an extended pod racing sequence. I don't know if it was like a director's cut version or something, but I believe there's a part where Anakin's side-by-side race with Sebulba is extended.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, there again
something that's interesting.
Difference between like the digital version and the theatrical.
I think the biggest problem I have with this film, as far as like visuals and action is concerned, is it's very start then stop. Like there is a thing about pacing. Like there is a thing about pacing and the way that a movie should be paced to let the audience not get bored, but not be overhyped from something, right? And it's if you want to look at the pacing of it, like Endgame does this really, like Avengers Endgame did that really well, just in terms of kind of like, it's not dull. Like there's a lot of plot points where it can be quite boring because you're talking about time travel and stuff, but the flow of things and the action remains, and it's like, okay, that's an exciting bit. Okay, this is a talky bit. That's an exciting bit, but it goes into a talky bit. That's and it flowed really well until you had this massive climactic battle at the end, which lasted forever, and it was it was amazing. It was amazing. And this one, it's you get little burst of you get boring talking at the beginning, very boring talking, little burst of action, then boring talking, then little weird chase sequence action thing, then lots of talking, lots of talking, pod racing, really interesting, cool, good, talk, Duel of the Fates, there we go, we're done. It's such a weird pacing on this film. It's really odd.
Yeah.
And I get, like, this is why I say it's very hard to now look at this film without the context of the other two, because I get what Lucas is trying to, like, he's establishing how Palpatine becomes Palpatine. Like, it's how he becomes the Emperor. Like, and it's all the idea is that the Sith are all about plotting. They are all about machinations, because they can't go head on against the Jedi. And it's established every single time when they do that, they lose. Every single time. Because one of two things happen. Either the Jedi just beat them down into submission, or the Sith have so many of them that they become obsessed with their own power, and that they infight amongst themselves and eventually lose anyway. That's why the rule of two works, because there should only ever be two Sith, so that they can plot and work against the Jedi in the background before doing the final strike. It's well thought out in that regard. It really is. And when you look at it on the whole and take in the whole story, it is well done. It's just, for a standalone movie, it struggles. It struggles.
Just before we move on, the last thing I'll say about the action as well, I don't know why there's certain moments that look really jarring, such as when they're fighting the destroyers and Qui-Gon says, "We got to get away." They do this weird sort of flash run. Like just almost like the still just runs off the screen sort of thing, which is really weird. And I was like, is that a blur? The other time as well, when in the Duel of Fates, Obi-Wan gets kicked off. I think it's Obi-Wan gets kicked off one of the runways, and he falls quite some distance, and then he manages to, catch himself.
Recover and force jump up, yeah.
And it's the force jump up, because he makes it look like, the way it's cut, it looks like a little hop back onto the same platform.
Every time he does it, I think of that that meme where it, like, when he goes off into the galaxy. So it does it, and I just, in my head, I just go. Yeah, it's good. It's good. All right, well, let's get on to talking about the characters then, because there's a lot to cover in that. So I guess, I mean, this film really like establishes the entire prequel trilogy. As it's the first one, as you would expect. So how do you want to break this down, Zane? I'm assuming you don't want to talk about bit characters, because there's no real point, is there? We're not going to talk about Anakin's mum or what's it, Sebulba? Not Sebulba, but Watto.
Guido?
I'm not sure.
Oh, Otto, yeah.
I don't see the point in talking about them necessarily, or
No.
The Supreme Chancellor before Palpatine.
Jabba's in this.
Yeah, Jabba's. Yeah, Jabba.